Hello my beautiful people, welcome to the next weekly general tarot reading with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website addressed below. And remember, at the end of, well, it's technically not at the end of this week because it doesn't happen until the 13th of May. But remember, Lady Venus is about to go retrograde. Now, it's not just Venus that's going retrograde. We've got Pluto going retrograde. We've got Jupiter going retrograde. This is we're stepping into what I affectionately call retrogradia. Where there are 4 or more planets retrograde at any one time. Now, if you haven't ever seen it, I put out a series in 2018 called Retrogradia, so you can check it out. It's like a 4-part series. I mean, it was specifically about that time because I think it was like 6 planets at one point and everybody was just like, are we even going to survive this? But, you know, there's still quite a lot of pertinent information in there that's really going to assist. But with that said, whatever retrograde you are ever going to face, you can get my retrograde survival kit. There's a link for it in the description box below. It's got everything that you need for every single planetary retrograde that you are ever going to go through. There is knowledge and information and a survival strategy. There's like 10, sometimes 12 or more points on how you can get through that retrograde. Small, everyday, practical things that you can do to set those, to remedy some of the energy that you might sort of encounter during a retrograde. So with that said, yeah, Venus retrograde, it's going to be an interesting one for sure, and I kind of feel like this is where the message came from this week, because what I was shown was actually a projector. Like I was seeing something and I was like, okay, so what is the message here? And the message was, what is a projection? So this week you are being invited, you know, this was the intuitive message that I was given, so I'm just the mouthpiece, don't shoot the message. You know, and this obviously goes for me as well. This is something that I will obviously need to unpick and unpack within myself. So the question is, or the message is, what is a projection? So if there is something that you are seeing in the world, in another person, in your relationships, especially as we get closer to this Venus retrograde, if there is something that you are seeing in your life that doesn't, you know, maybe it makes you angry, maybe it makes you upset, maybe it makes you sad, maybe it puts you in a state of disbelief or cognitive dissonance, this is the time for you to really go within and ask yourself, over the course of this week, over the course of this next 7 days, what is a projection? Where is it that you are projecting your stuff, your crap, your issues, your traumas, your history? Where is it that you are projecting your stuff onto someone else or to something else or to some situation that you are seeing out in the world? Now, before I go, you know, and you know, you might be sitting there thinking, oh, you know, Raf's going in this week, and it's really not that at all. I actually feel like that's a really powerful message, and it is something that I'm going to look at within myself. This is really a time, this is a week where, especially before the actual Venus retrograde kicks in, if you can get some of this stuff clear in your mind now, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your partnerships, when it comes to your collaborations, when it comes to those things in a professional or academic sense, it's happening in Gemini, remember, you can really alleviate some of the stuff that's going to come up. What is your stuff? And as long as you're clear on what your stuff is, when somebody else's stuff comes up, you tend not to absorb it or to, you know, to react to it as much because you realize that it's not yours. And what that also means is that if you're looking at your own stuff as what is a projection, what is my stuff that is maybe not necessarily aligned, maybe is toxic, maybe is holding me back, maybe is and I always call them like programs or scripts. These are like old moments, old feelings, old bits that are stuck within us that kind of, you know, they hijack the train every so often. These are those unconscious blocks or those self-sabotaging tendencies. What is a projection? Because if you can figure out what it is that you're projecting onto other people, when you follow that thread back, you will be able to trace it back to some specific event or experience that you had within your own life, within your own history, trajectory, and you are better equipped to navigate that so that you don't project onto other people, thereby, you know, not attracting more of the same, right? This is a chance for you to catch yourself in what could potentially become a loop, providing you're willing, able, you know, to do the work and to be conscious enough to say, right, okay, you know what, this is my crap, this is my stuff. And as long as you're willing to do that, as long as you're able to do that, I think you could make a lot of headway this week, and actually you could step into the Venus retrograde season a lot clearer, a lot more defined than most people, because you've already done sort of a lot of the legwork. But I mean, at the end of this week, we've still got 3 days to go before it actually kicks in. So, you know, obviously keep your wits about you over those next 3 days. So let's say Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, you know, after this week that I'm talking about here. But pay attention to this stuff as well, because we're on the build up to it, right? To where that point is, Venus is going to go retrograde, where she's going to station, and then she's going to go retrograde. If you haven't got it yet, check out the link in the description box below for the retrograde survival kit. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So let's have a look, see what the destiny card is for the week ahead for all of us. What is going on this week? What is the overarching energy or theme that we are working on or through? And it's the Magician, right? So look at this. This is beautiful. This is where you could really step into your power. This could present some opportunity for you to be seen for your skills. This could be an opportunity for all of us in some way, shape or form to get ahead, some way to be noticed, some way to gain an accolade. It could also be you maybe making that final decision of where it is that you want to take something, where it is that final goal seems to be taking us. Now, the Magician card is representative, or, you know, is ruled by Mercury, which is a really interesting one, right? Because Mercury is going to step into a Taurus fairly soon. And now, what I'm kind of picking up from this card, because it is the destiny card, right? It's that overarching energy or theme, is that we are going to start to see, we're certainly going to start to see a lot of how things are going to move forward, a lot of the picture of what things will look like when we do finally start to see that slow, steady progression forward. This is where we're going to start to see what that looks like, where our expertise is likely to be able to fit into this. Now, remember, we've got Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn's going to be there for a while. And what that kind of is giving everybody at the moment is this understanding of their own individual self, but how that individual self fits into the, you know, into the wider world stage. Your Magician card is what you specialize in, what you hone in on, what you can really take to the, you know, to the forefront or to the pinnacle, where it is that you're ready to ascend in some way, shape or form. This is also asking you, if you had a magic wand, if you had all of the power to change something in your life, what would you do? What is it that you would create? What is it that you would change? And as a destiny card, this is reminding us that our power is in our words. It's how we communicate, but it's also in our actions and how we show up. This kind of tells me actually that this week I think everybody's going to be feeling sort of in that place. Now, interestingly enough, with, you know, the retrograde and the retrograde season that's coming up, I kind of feel like this might be for a lot of us a way of tapping into the understanding of what needs to change. And the Magician card is the energy to change it. It's the impetus to say, right, okay, I'm going to transform or transmute this situation by my very will. Let's give it some context. What is the direction card? Okay, so one's jumped out face down, and it is the 8 of Pentacles. So this week we are going to be seeing and hearing a lot about people going back to work. A lot of people are going to be pushing forward. Maybe a lot of people are deciding where it is that they're going to specialize. Maybe some people, and I think I'm seeing a lot of, I'm seeing a lot of this, you know, a lot of people saying, you know what, rather than kind of jump ship, I'm just going to hunker down and get really good at what it is that I do already. The 8 of Pentacles as a direction card, this is about what you're willing to work on. you know, on a really literal level, working on your communication, working on your skills, working on your craft. This is going to be a week where a lot of people are making big decisions about, you know, and obviously we're going into retrograde season, so, you know, the validity, not even the validity, but the likelihood that some of these plans are going to need to evolve later on is definitely there. But your 8 of Pentacles as a direction card, right? What skills are you ready to refine? What part of your craft, what craft in general are you ready to hone into the, you know, the best expression that you can give to it or for it? I think we're going to see a lot of people trickling back to work this week. I think we're going to hear a lot about things starting to, you know, grind to a sort of slow, steady movement, and then eventually that shunt forward, which I really do feel like will come. I feel like by the time we get to sort of mid-June, maybe early July, I think like that's where everything's going to really start to power forward. But we're definitely seeing this sort of trickle, you know, it's just starting to move forward now. So really interesting. Yeah, I'm just looking at that and I'm like, okay, what else is there? Let's have a look at the insight card. What's going on behind the scenes, or okay, what's going on behind the scenes or likely to be coming up? And we've got 2 cards that fell out face down. So we've got the Death card and we've got the Hanged Man, right? So these are all pretty powerful cards. The Hanged Man definitely suggests that this week we are paying attention to how we feel about things, but also where it is that we might need to give something up. This is about coming into this understanding that in order to take these big leaps forward or these big elevated steps towards what we want, there is going to be something that there's going to be a self-sacrifice that has to happen. There's going to be something that needs to be released, something that needs to be let go, something that needs to be you know, traded in some way, shape or form. And remember, the Hanged Man is a card of true spirituality at its depth, but it's also a card of martyrdom. So it's asking you, what is it that you are, in order to make those forward steps and progressions and, you know, upward projections, what are you willing to let go of? And ultimately, what is it that you can understand through the idea of learning what your projections are? What is it that you can free yourself from, you know, free yourself from now that is going to make a real difference? Now, there is a deeper meaning to all of this, and there's an interruption here that I'm going to make. And a lot of people are going to be unhappy about it, but I don't care. I'm going to say what I have to say. I will not be censored. Then you got the Death card, which represents Scorpio, right? So we've got Neptune here and we've got Scorpio here. Now, interestingly enough, your Death card, yes, it rules Scorpio, but the Death card is about that moment where something needs to end, something needs to perish. This is very, very clear to me, right? There is something that needs to end, something that needs to come to a close in order for you to take this step forward. So whether this is a trade, whether it's a caveat, you know, in terms of, you know, what it is that you want or what it is that you want to welcome into your life, you are going to have to release or remove something. Now, the other thing with the Death card as well, it's that reminder that something has come to an end. It's that transition or change point. And very often we are aware of what this is. When it comes up for us, the Hanged Man is basically saying, when you see that thing coming to an end or coming to a close, release it with grace. The more so that you are inclined to do so, the better it's going to be for you. Now, Destiny card. The Magician very often represents leaders, people that are in positions of power, people that are heads of companies, because the 8 of Pentacles is there. And then you've got the Hanged Man and the Death card. I don't really like to, you know, because I don't want to scare people, but I do believe we might see a public, very prominent figure transition this week. And it may, I'm just saying it's a possibility, it may very well be something that they initiate themselves. I think that's probably the easiest way that I can put it, but it does look like there's going to be a fall of a prominent figure this week, and it does look like it's going to be somebody that is maybe the head of a company, maybe somebody that is extremely in the public eye, maybe a celebrity of some sort. Whatever it is, they'll be known for their skills and something that they are very good at, something that they are learned and practiced and well respected in. because your death card with the Hanged Man on a really, really mundane level, at base level, it can be, you know, somebody choosing to end their journey. So, you know, that's just one interruption. Sometimes you get those, you know, different predictions that come through in readings, like interruptions. It's happened a few times throughout the zodiac readings that I do. So with that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know how this plays out for you, what it means to you, what it looks like to you, and keep me posted if you see anything in the news that reflects this or anything like it. Let me know. With that said, take care, and I'll see you soon.